The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing games are missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, for the first time on the channel in like 2 months, we're live. It's been a long time coming. I'm pretty sure this is my first live fight, my first live period since I got back from Japan. So it's just been a long time coming. Been going through a lot of shit in life, just to say the least, since I got back from Japan. And I had to take some time off, and I'm taking that time off, and it's time to get back on the horse. It's time to get back on the horse and deliver you guys that great content that we've been giving you guys for year after year after year. So shout out to everybody who's watching live. Shout out to everybody who's gonna watch the playback. Leave your comments down below. It's 9 o'clock. 9:02 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in the USA. So I'm not sure how long this live's gonna run me tonight, but we'll see how it goes. We'll kind of feel it out. Program reminder, right? Program reminder. Tomorrow we will have our first live fight reaction extravaganza with me and Pops in months. We'll be going live for the Frank Martin fight. So if y'all want to join in for the Frank Martin fight tomorrow night, feel free to join. Should be a lot of fun. But let's get some comments. Let's shake some hands and let's kiss some babies. We got my main man, Ruben Crespo. Ruben Crespo says, "Champ, what's good, Ruben? Shout out to you out in New York City. Much love for New York City." Yes, sir. Got Carl Hansen, Australia in the building. Shout out to George Cambosos and Tim Zhu. BT, what's up, bro? What's good, Carl? How you living, man? Good to see you. Good to see everybody in the chat, man. It's been a long time, man. I've missed it quite a bit, and I realized recently that I've had a pretty bad attitude towards a lot of things in life, so I had to fix my attitude and come here and talk to you guys, man, because there's a lot in boxing that I know I haven't had a chance to talk to you guys with live and in the flesh. So if there's anything that I missed or anything you haven't heard me talk about, feel free to drop it in the chat, and I'll get to it in a timely manner. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My main man, 50 grand. One of South Florida's very own, Sebastian, the technician Santana. He says, "Yo, what's good? What's good, Seabass? Hope all is well. Hope training's going good with Coach Jeff and all them." Good to see Sebastian in the chat. We got my man Rico Ransom, my guy BT. Good to see you, bro. Good to see you, Rico. Good to be seen, man. Cause every now and then I be watching these channels on the low, and this ain't there's only one BT, man. There's only one BT. So had to come back and get back in a nice little rhythm before we get to Inoue Fulton in 11 days now. Nayo Inoue Stephen Fulton will be in 11 days. I'm still in America, so obviously that means I'm not going to Japan for the fight, but we're still gonna have fun. I'll be up at 6 in the morning. You guys will get a great live fight reaction for it. It'll be a lot of fun. We got my main man, Hand History Vault. Yes, sir. Welcome back. Been a while since the last live stream. Yeah. I was checking it today. The last time there was a live stream on this channel was when I was in Japan and Pops went live for Rolly versus Ismael Barroso. So it's been way too damn long. And I think the last time I was live was, I'm gonna say, Joe Joyce versus Zhang. So that was an eternity ago. They already signed a rematch. So yeah, it has been a while. We got Raj Valdo, and everybody say shout out to Pops. He says BT's background and shout out to Pops. And let me know where you guys are watching from in the chat. I guess we'll start off on this note, and then I'll just greet you guys. And I wrote down some things to talk about. I got notes. People. So I guess we'll start off with one of the fights that everyone seems to be talking about. It's a popular subject in boxing. And that's Crawford Spence, my man Raj Valdo, number 10. He asked, "Yo, BT, who do you have between Crawford or Spence? I honestly can't split them. Styles make fights." Now, I've been very adamant for years. When I say years, I mean years. I've been adamant for years that the reason it took so damn long to make this fight happen is because Al Heyman, all right, Earl Spence Jr., and the fine folks at PBC, thank you for them for finally putting the fight together. But the reason it took so long is because I feel Terrence Crawford was always going to beat Errol Spence. And I'm not moving off my square. I'm not moving off my pivot. I still think that. I think obviously Errol Spence is a very fundamentally sound fighter, but the mistake, right? The big mistake, I feel the greatest thing, I should say the worst thing that's working against Errol Spence in the fight is that because he allowed Terrence Crawford to get 7 fights, I believe it's 7 fights at welterweight, Terrence Crawford's body's filled out a lot more. So Terrence Crawford's going to be as strong as he possibly can be. He's going to be as physically strong as he possibly can be. And I feel like that's going to somewhat take away the number one strength Errol Spence had with this fight when it was first possibility 5 years ago, which was the fact that he was the naturally bigger guy. He could impose that size to push Crawford back. And now that Crawford settled into the weight, he's gained some physical strength over the years. I just think it spells trouble for Errol Spence. And I was listening to Anthony Sims Jr. Anthony Sims Jr. Did an interview with somebody recently, and I saw a clip of it on Twitter. And he made a great point. You know, when Errol fought Ugas in that fight, and he had the incident where like he kind of spit out his mouthpiece, Errol apparently thought his teeth got knocked on the floor, and he looked down because he thought his teeth got knocked down on the floor. And Anthony Sims Jr. made a great point on an interview I heard recently, and pretty much said that the reason Errol is at a disadvantage is because with that car crash, his teeth are fake. So if he gets hit in the teeth the wrong way, you know, his mind might play tricks on him, and he might do what he did in the Ugas fight again. But even if he doesn't do what he did in the Ugas fight, and he fights his best fight, I just think Terrence Crawford, too versatile, too smart, a little too strong, and just has more tools in the toolbox. And I'm gonna go with a Terrence Crawford. It's gonna be a fun fight. I think Terrence Crawford wins by stoppage. I don't know what round, but I think the fight's gonna end. Whoever wins is winning by stoppage. But if I'm gonna go with Crawford. That's what I think. If you're asking me, that's what I think. Let me see. My man Exile Kenny says Ryan Garcia is looking nice under Derek James, and yeah, that was actually one of the things I wrote down that I wanted to talk about. So you kind of already are doing the work for me. Shout out to you, man. Ryan Garcia has been blessed with like great athletic gifts, great natural gifts, speed, power, range, size. He's had a lot of tools, but he hasn't been properly applying them, right? And now he's with Derek James. And the great thing about Derek James is that he's going to build the basics, the basic foundation of Ryan Garcia. He's going to teach Ryan Garcia how to not just box, but box and be tall, how to box tall and not make mistakes or minimize the mistakes. So, you know, I would agree with you in those clips that we've been seeing. You know, you're watching Ryan Garcia box and move. You're watching him throw that jab and keep the backhand up. You're watching him step when he punches. It's just those little things that are going to make Ryan Garcia a better fighter moving forward. So, yeah, I like what I'm seeing too. Ryan Garcia did call out Regis Prograis recently. He wants all the smoke at 140 with Regis Prograis. I like that fight. I think when you look at Regis Prograis' last fight against Danielito Zorrilla kind of has some of the same dimensions, some of the same things, attributes Ryan Garcia has. He's tall, he's rangy, he can punch. And Zorrilla, when he boxed Prograis, kind of, you know, he boxed differently. He wasn't the normal guy who comes forward. No, he actually boxed tall. And you saw the kind of problems that gave Prograis. So if you're Ryan Garcia and you're looking at what Derek James has been doing in the gym with you, you have to be licking your chops to fight a guy like Zorrilla, or Prograis, I should say, after the Zorrilla fight. So you got that fight. The WBC, the day after Ryan Garcia called out Prograis, the WBC ordered Prograis versus Sandor Martin. Now, if that fight can't come to fruition, I personally would think Ryan Garcia versus Sandor Martin would be a good fight because Sandor Martin is an established name at 140. He boxes and moves very well. We've seen Sandor Martin give Teofimo Lopez problems. Some people thought he beat Teofimo. We've seen Sandor Martin beat Mikey Garcia. So I think that'd be a good like first test at 140 with Derek James. It will give them a fight to work on some of the things they implemented into the gym before Prograis fight. So in a perfect world, we'd get Ryan versus Sandor Martin, and then the winner could fight Prograis as the mandatory challenger, or whatever. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see. Let's get some more comments, man. We got a lot of people here. Let me see. We got a lot of comments here. Shout out to everyone here, man. Yeah, Carl. You know, Tszyu has been on the tear. Tszyu's been on doing his thing. You know, when I think about Tszyu, I often think about the saying in boxing, which is you know, activity matters. Activity matters because an active fighter is a fighter who has great timing. An active fighter is a fighter whose endurance is going to be well conditioned. You know, as far as like under the lights, being in fight shape. And he's been doing that. And he's been fighting different styles. He's fought Tony Harrison. He's fought Ocampo. It's just unfortunate that, you know, Jermell Charlo went up and took the big fight with Canelo. I can't fault Charlo for doing that because if Tim had the chance to fight Canelo, Tim would fight Canelo too. So I can't fault Charlo for the fight. Maybe it's a bit of wishful thinking on my part, and I'm pretty sure maybe I'm a bit delusional for hoping this, but I would like to see after Charlo fights Canelo, it'd be great if he can come back down to 54 and fight Tszyu. I don't think that'll happen because I think his body will probably outgrow the weight, and he will use the Canelo fight to say that he can't fight Tszyu no more. But you know, that's what I would like in an ideal world because I still want to see Charlo versus Tszyu. So, yeah, he's been on a hot streak. The Sweet Science of Hugging says, do you think Andre Ward ducked the two Russian champions that are running 175? They are the number 1 and number 2 mandatories. And he's talking about Beterbiev and Bivol. Did Andre Ward duck those two guys? Now, I'll be honest. Like, when Andre Ward was fighting, I couldn't stand Andre Ward. To be honest, I hated Andre Ward. I couldn't stand him for life of me. But remove my feelings aside, I can't really say that. Like, I can't really say that because, you know, I just feel like, you know, he beat Kovalev, right? He beat Kovalev, and he had accomplished a lot in the sport, and he got money. He got decent money out of the sport. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. The hater in me, the Andre Ward hater in me wants to say, yes, he ducked Bivol. He ducked Beterbiev. But, I mean, what more did you want from the guy? The guy beat Carl Froch. He's got a win on his resume against Kovalev. You know, I think he got out at the right time because if he would have fought Beterbiev or Bivol, I don't think it would have ended so well for him. Just being honest, but it is what it is. Jesus Sem, shout out to longtime viewer of the channel. Jesus Sem got a lot of love from my boy. Jesus Sem, he says, BT, what are your thoughts on Jared Anderson coming back soon? Is it good, but versus a lesser opponent? Yeah, he's fighting a guy named Andrei Rudenenko. Rudenenko is a Ukrainian heavyweight, 39 years old. I believe his record is like 36-5-1. Of those 5 or 6 losses, he's only been stopped one time. Rudenenko has been in there with some good names. Rudenenko's been in there with Zhang Zhilei. He's been in there with Povetkin. But Rudenenko's only been stopped in one of his 6 losses. And he went the distance with Zhang. He went the distance with Povetkin. So he's got good durability. But he's 39 years old. So obviously it's a fight where Anderson is supposed to win against an older heavyweight. But, you know, you take it for what it is. He, you know, it's his second fight in 60 days. He's staying active. I can't get angry at Jared Anderson from this level of opponent because the reality is right now when you look at heavyweight, you got Tyson Fury who's fighting Francis Ngannou in a shit show. You got Alexander Usyk fighting Dubois. You got Filip Hrgovic, who they just announced today is fighting Dempsey McKean on the Dillian White Anthony Joshua undercard next month. So a lot of the top guys, Deontay Wilder and Andy Ruiz, are going back and forth, and it looks like they're moving closer and closer towards a fight. So a lot of the guys that you'd want to see Big Baby Anderson in the ring with are tied up. So I'll take this for what it is now. But, you know, after this fight, later on in the year, if Jared Anderson has one more fight this year, I would like to see Jared Anderson fight Arslanbek Makhmudov. That fight makes so much sense to me because Makhmudov just fought on Anderson's undercard where he knocked out Rafael Akapajori. I would like that fight because Makhmudov has great amateur pedigree. He's undefeated. He's in the rankings. He can punch. He'll present a threat, but he's also a guy that has his fair share of vulnerabilities. You know, we've seen Makhmudov get hurt by the likes of Carlos Takam. So I think it's a winnable fight for Jared Anderson, but it's a fight where it still poses some danger. So, you know, you fight Rudenenko, you stay active, you stay match fit, you stay sharp, and then, you know, in a perfect world, December, you'd be fighting Arslanbek Makhmudov, because that's an easy fight to make. They're both top rank. They're both, you know, in the rankings. They're both at a good level in boxing. I say you let those two fight at the end of the year, and let's see who's who. You know? Thanks for the insight, man. I didn't know a lot of that info either. I came with this fight, man. I'll be up till 5 a.m. over here in the UK. Hey, you know, personally, like, I'm not as excited for Crawford Spence as I would have been, let's say, you know, 3, 4, 5 years ago. I just think the fight's been marinated so long, it's kind of hard for me to get all the way excited about it. But, you know, Terence Crawford is one of my favorite boxers, so I always look forward to a Terence Crawford fight. So, yeah, should be a lot of fun. Who else we got here? We got my man, Hand History Vault. I think Crawford needs a knockout. I just have this feeling if it goes 12, Spence wins. If this is 5 years ago, Spence takes it. Now Spence looks over the hill. I have to pick Crawford either way. You know, that's interesting because I kind of feel the opposite of you. I feel like Spence would have had a better chance years ago. I feel like if it would have happened in 2018 or 2019, I feel like the fight would have been like the way everyone's talking it up now. I feel like it could have been that in 2018 or 2019. It could have been like Hagler versus or Leonard versus Hearns of this era. But, you know, with Errol Spence not quite living the life outside the ring, with you know, the car accident, you know, having surgery on his teeth and stuff, you know, I don't know. I'm not really too sold on Spence beating Crawford, but we'll see. They fight the fights for a reason. One thing we do know about Spence is Spence has a great jab. He's one of the most fundamentally sound fighters in the sport. We know Errol Spence is very good about, you know, defensively. He's very sound. He keeps his hands up. He doesn't drop his hands. Hand positioning is up there with the best in boxing. So we'll see how it goes. But I got Terence Crawford folding up Errol Spence. Just being honest. BT Oscar says that Virgil is going to 154, but Virgil has not confirmed it. Yeah, I don't know about that. I haven't heard anything from Virgil yet. I think when it comes to the subject of Virgil Ortiz, like, we have to be very patient with what happens with his career, because, you know, you got Oscar saying one thing, you got his manager Rick Morrigan saying one thing. I think us as fight fans, we should just wait to see that Virgil's okay. And let's wait to hear from Virgil before we hear anything. But if he's going to 54, I think it'd be great for Virgil. Personally, look, I think Virgil should skip 154 and go to 160. He's big enough to make 160. We've seen Virgil have problems making 140, making 147. He's a big kid. I say you go to 160. 160 is the weakest weight class in the entire sport of boxing right now. It needs star power desperately, and I think he can go up there, become a middleweight champion pretty quickly if he does, but that's just me. So, yeah, let me see who else we got here. My man QC says, shout out to QC, says, yo, what's happening, BT? And shout out to Pops as well, just coming through to show love to the channel. Where you been at, man? I've been nowhere but everywhere at the same time, man. I just I'll keep it a spade with you guys. I'll keep it 100 with you guys. I got back from Japan in the middle of May. And life just kind of went to shit for a little bit. And I just needed to take the time off. And I took the time off. And well, I didn't need to take time off. I took time off. I don't know. I haven't been here. It is what it is. But I'm back now. That's all that matters. I'm back now. And I'm getting back on the horse because I've realized that, like, you know, you only get so much time on earth to do what you want in life. And you know, I said a long time ago I wanted to cover boxing at the highest level, and so I had to get back on the horse and just come back. So that's what I'm doing, you know. Anyway, James Valdez, what's good, champ? How you living? Good to see you, James. Much love to James. Hey, Sue says, Yo Elvis got almost exposed. Who would you match him with next and when? Oh, that's a good question. Yoelvis Gomez. He's at what is he at 160 now? I think he's at 60. Well, Is he a 60-pounder now? Because I know when you ever fought Marquise Taylor, I know they're both 54-pounders, but the fight was contracted at 60. So I'm not sure if he's a 60-pounder full time now, or if he's going to go down to 54. I don't know, but it's tough to say. I mean, you got Marquise Taylor, who let's be real, I like Marquise Taylor. I'm a Marquise Taylor fan, but on paper, Marquise Taylor was a tailor-made opponent for you. He was not a big puncher. You had him moving up in weight. So I don't know. I have to really think about that one. Who would I match Yelvis Gomez up with? We'll come back to that one later on. I don't got an answer to that right now. Let me see. Shakur Marriott, my main man, Shaq, out there in London, my brethren. He says, yo, BT, how's the family, bro? Hope they're all good. Can anyone beat Shakur Stevenson or Bivol? So first and foremost, Shakur, good to see you as always, champ. Mario Lemieux is the GOAT, all right? And as far as the family's good. I'm blessed, man. Pops' health is about as good as it's been since the heart attack a year and a half ago. Just saw some family yesterday that I hadn't seen in like 15 years plus. So life's been all right. But as far as Bivol and Shakur, we'll start with Bivol, right? Because I think Bivol is the purest boxer in the sport. Nobody, I feel, can transition from offense to defense and defense to offense quite as good as Bivol. Maybe the other guy you mentioned, Shakur, but it's very few that I put up there with Bivol in terms of pure boxing ability. Artur Beterbiev, I mean, I'm gonna give you the obvious answer. Artur Beterbiev could beat Bivol, but with each passing day, with each passing training camp, with each passing fight, I think the prospects of Bivol and Beterbiev fighting are becoming more and more unrealistic. Beterbiev has his fight coming up with Callum Smith next month. I think he should beat the shit out of Callum Smith, to be honest with you. But we can't overlook Callum Smith because Callum Smith has shown himself to be better under Buddy McGirt. But at the same time, just being honest, Callum Smith hasn't really fought any punches at light heavyweight on the level of a Beterbiev. He hasn't. I mean, I don't even think he's fought like a guy you could say is a top 10 puncher in the division. He's fought pretty feather-fisted guys since he became a light heavyweight. Carefully selected opposition. He fought Mateo Badalik, soft punching southpaw. He fought Lenin Castillo, who's not really a big puncher himself. So we'll get an answer as we'll see what Callum's durability is like at light heavyweight when he fights Beterbiev. As far as Shakur, listen, man, I love Shakur Stevenson, big fan. I created the Shakur Stevenson bandwagon, but this Devin Haney thing, man, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna disagree with me, but I can't be biased, Shakur Marriott. I can't be biased. Devin Haney made like 20. I think the purse was like 20% or like 22% when he fought George Kambosos the first time when he went to Australia. All right, he took a sacrifice. I think George Kambosos made like 12 million. Devin made upwards of around 2.8, something like that. But he, so yeah, he made good money, but in comparison to what George made, he didn't make a lot of money, but he sacrificed that money, went over there, won the belt, then had to go there again and beat George again. And so he could put himself in the position as the man in the division with all the belts, right? So he comes to Shakur. Shakur Stevenson was in the club. He's talking all this stuff about, oh, Devin got to sign the contract, and he's antagonizing Devin in the club. So Devin breaks Shakur Stevenson off with an offer. He says, listen, I'll give you an offer. 75-25, you get 25%. It's slightly of a higher percentage than Devin got when he fought George. And Shakur turned it down, which to me is like, I understand it's a business. Like, I understand, like, you want to get what you're worth. But I've heard Shakur Stevenson say that Devin Haney is basic. And I think Devin Haney is basic. So my thing is, if Shakur Stevenson is as good as I think he is, take the 25% and smoke Devin Haney. So you can become the man, and then you can start giving people 25% when they want to fight you. You can dictate terms, but he turned it down. So, I think Devin would have a chance against Shakur, although I picked Shakur. I think, I like to see Shakur in there with like a guy like Williams Peta because of the volume, but I think Shakur eventually pick him apart. Shakur Stevenson will be a hard fighter to beat because his body's filling out. But yes, there's guys that can be Shakur Stevenson at 135. Let me see who else we got. We got my man Ralph. Ralph, what's good, Ralph? Canelo versus Charlo was a dumb move on Canelo's part. It's a lose-lose for Canelo. If he wins, they'll say Canelo was small or Charlo was small. If he loses to a smaller guy, Charlo has everything to gain from the fight. Yeah, it's. I mean, in that sense, the way you're describing it, it's very similar to many years ago when like I don't think it's exactly like when Golovkin fought Kell Brook, but from the Canelo side of things, it is exactly like Golovkin versus Brook because he don't really got anything to gain from this fight, right? I don't really think it's a dumb move for Canelo, right? Because he doesn't. I don't think he sees a need to fight Benavidez, right? Because Benavidez has been on this calling him out and whatnot, and I think that fight will happen at the end of his PBC deal. I think it'll make a lot of money. I don't really see it as a lose-lose for Canelo on his part. I think Canelo's gonna get a big payday. He's fighting a smaller guy who he's favored to beat, and he doesn't. And the most important part of this is he doesn't gotta fight Dimitri Bivol because we know if Canelo fought Bivol, listen, man. You know what happened if Canelo fought Bivol again, and it don't matter if it was at 168, 175. It don't matter if they played one-on-one basketball, croquet. It don't matter if they raced Formula One cars or NASCARs. Canelo cannot beat Bivol at anything. All right, so just for the fact that he's not fighting Bivol for him, I think it's a win-win for him because he ain't beating Bivol, and that's just facts. Let me see, Brandon Lentz. Shout out to my main man, Brandon Lentz. What's good, Brandon? Good to see you. Been a long time. BT, let's talk about how Canelo fans are quick to say Benavidez is ducking Morrell after 2 months of discussion, but refuse to admit Canelo is ducking Benavidez after 2 years of people calling for it. Yeah, well, right now I think, you could say it's fair. I think it's fair to say that he is avoiding Benavidez, but Canelo did sign a PBC, right? It's a 3-fight deal from what I believe. I've noticed when Jose Benavidez Sr. Did an interview recently, his whole energy was different. And he was talking about how Canelo's this great guy and this, that, and the third. So I think that fight's eventually going to happen. But yeah, I mean, personally, I don't really care for Benavidez Canelo. I'm beyond caring about it. I really want Benavidez to stop wasting his time and move up to light heavyweight because I feel like he should have made that move a couple years ago. But yeah, for the sake of boxing fans, the fight should have happened already. But we know that Benavidez missed weight. So there's a lot of factors, but I see what you're saying. My man, got Johnny Boys Combat Talking News in the building. What's good, champ? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good to see you, man. Eddie Morales, my main man, Mr. True School Lives. Yes, and I miss being here, so that's why I'm back. That's why your boy BT's back. Shakur says, I agree with you, bro. That situation, I can't wait for Inoue to show why he's pound for pound the best. And also, how do you think Benavidez does at 175? Well, look, I've wanted to see him at 175 because he's big. He's a gargoyle at 68. And, I want to see some dudes that can really punch Dave Benavidez and see how he holds up. I think obviously, there was a situation with Beterbiev years ago. I would love to see the Beterbiev fight, even though Beterbiev is getting up there in age and he can fall off a cliff at any moment. I still wouldn't mind seeing it because if he's able to beat a guy like Beterbiev, I mean, that'd be a big feather in his cap. But I think he wouldn't have these issues on the scale that he's had in the past. I think he'd probably gain a little bit of strength actually. So I think he'd be a very interesting fighter. Brandon Lentz says, let's talk about how Canelo's fan company line. You have to do something to earn a shot. They've used that for over the years and has been proven to be a lie after he targeted Charles. Yeah, I feel like listen, Canelo's in a power position. He makes the most money of anybody in boxing. It's never really been about guys doing what they need to get to earn the shot. Avni Yildirim didn't do anything to earn the shot. Jermell Charlo hasn't fought. We have not seen or heard of Jermell Charlo since the Castaño fight, and that was last May. So yeah, it's never really been about that. It's all about really who does Canelo want to fight and when does he want to fight him. All the other guys can do. The guys like Morrell, the guys like Benavidez, the guys like Andrade, those guys that boxing fans have been wanting to see Canelo fight for years. The only thing those guys can do is fight whoever they can to raise their value high enough and just hope that the chips fall the way at some point. I don't think that they should wait for Canelo. I feel like it's gotten to that point now where it's like, okay, Canelo's finding ways to avoid, and like you got to get to a point where you beat so many people. It's kind of like Marvin Hagler. Like Marvin Hagler had to beat all these contenders till they couldn't duck them and deny him anymore. And I feel like that's the route one of these guys got to take. They can't just kind of sit there and wait for Canelo, but I'm with you on that. Kevin from Chicago, what's good? He said, I told people ages ago Fury was ducking Usyk. I always felt like Fury, from the minute Usyk became a possibility, Fury's whole energy was different about everything. Like, he would say things in interviews I never heard him say before. Like, he would say, like, oh, the Western Hemisphere doesn't want an Eastern European fighter. He doesn't speak English. Nobody knows his name, this, that, and the third. So this doesn't surprise me. You know, you guys know I love Tyson Fury. He's one of my favorite boxers, but he's undefendable. He's undefendable, and the Ngannou shit is just undefendable. And I think deep down, Tyson Fury knows that for the first time in his career, if he would have ever stepped in the ring with Alexander Usyk, he'd be fighting the first guy that's just as mentally tough as he is. And that's the advantage that Fury has over most fighters, is the fact that he's normally the more mentally tough fighter. That's not the case. That can be called into question when fighting a guy like Usyk. So shout out to you, Kevin. Is Lester Martinez versus Lionel Thompson official? I have not heard anything about that. That's news to me. If it is official, that's crazy, because Lionel Thompson, we have not seen or heard from Lonnie B since he beat Usyk. If it is, good fight. I think for Lester Martinez, I mean, I don't know. I haven't watched Lester Martinez fight in like 2 years, so I don't know exactly where his career is at now. I guess, let me see. Let's say a quick look at what our boy Guatemala's very own Lester Martinez has been up to, because I actually have no clue. Like, I don't know who he fought. I don't know who he's beat his last couple fights. So let me get up to speed with that. Lester Martinez, Lionel B. Thompson. Be a good fight, though. I mean, Lionel Thompson can box. He can move. He can see slick. He's got heavy hands. If he's anything close to what he was in the Usyk fight, it'll definitely be the biggest test of Lester Martinez's career. Lester Martinez is one of those, from what I remember about him, he's one of these fighters that likes to plod forward, and he's an all-action fighter. Let's see. He beat Isaiah Steen, so that's a good little win. He stopped Isaiah Steen in round 8. Back in April of this year. That's a good win. And that's really the only one I know from the last couple guys he fought. But haven't heard anything about it. After this live is done, I'm gonna go look into it. If it is official, really hard fight for Lonnie B. Thompson. I mean, Lonnie B. Thompson, I know he's been training at like DLX and stuff in Las Vegas, but he really hasn't been under them lights since the Usyk fight. So it would be a chance for Lonnie B. Thompson, again, against all odds, probably not fighting for a lot of money, to go in there and beat a young fighter, you know, upset the apple cart. KF33 says, BT the GOAT. Who you got? Crawford or Spence? Shout out to you, KF33. Shout out. Hope all is well. Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford every day and twice on Sunday. Fulton versus a no-way prediction, and is Jamel avoiding Tim Tszyu? Is Jamel avoiding Tim Tszyu? I want to say Jamel is avoiding Tim Tszyu because I'm a Tim Tszyu fan. But, you know, I can't fault Tim Tszyu or Jamel for taking the biggest money fight possible in boxing. If Tim Tszyu was offered the Canelo fight, he did the same thing. So I'm not going to say he is. Now it's very, I said it earlier in the live, I think it's unrealistic for me to expect Charlo to come from 168 and then back to 54. But if he does, to fight Tim Tszyu, that'd be like the most gangster thing ever. Let me see. Key Mitch says, dropping in to say what's up. Hopefully we still have the original sponsors. You know, let me go check because I haven't used StreamYard in a while. We do. It's been a long time, Keen. This is for you, champ. True School Sports is sponsored by, and we'll let Jarrell Miller tell you who the channel is sponsored by. Big Baby, talk to him.
Vienna sausage cinnamon buns. Wonder Bread. Kool-Aid with no motherfucking sugar.
There you have it. Kool-Aid with no sugar. The man himself. That's who we unofficially sponsored by. So shout out to you, Keen. Hope all is well. Good to see you, champ. Your boy BT, True School Sports, Brendan Taylor. We here. Back in effect. Program reminder tomorrow. If you didn't hear me say it earlier, I'll say it again. We will be live. Me and Pops will be live tomorrow. The return of BT and Pops, the dynamic duo, is tomorrow for the Frank Martin fight. We'll be live for that. I think the following week is it George Kambosos versus Maxie Hughes? What fight's on the 22nd? I think we'll probably go live for that if there's not a better fight on. And then the 25th, we'll be up at 5 a.m., 4 a.m. for the granddaddy of them all, the Holy Grail of boxing, Inoue Fulton on the 25th. And so a lot of good stuff coming up here on True School Sports. But getting back to the comments, man. Boxing Connoisseur says, True School, do you think Ryan can do damage at 140? I really think so. Well, he seems to be getting some good coaching from Derek James and cleaning up some of those bad habits he's had in the past. I think either he's going to fight Prograis or Sandor Martin or something like that. I think he can definitely do good at 140. Ryan's not a bad fighter. It's just he's got to correct some things, continue to get the basic foundation of his skill set down. And, he could really do a lot of damage at 140 because he's got some shit you just can't teach. The speed he's got when he puts his punches together, the left hook that he has. I mean, he's got some great things. It's just about for him, I think, not just learning how to fight tall, but mastering how to fight tall. And it's like I'm gonna quote the great Keith one-time Thurman. Keith Thurman said it best. There's a lot of good fighters in boxing. A lot of people are good at boxing. Anybody can be good at boxing, but to master boxing, to become a master boxer, that takes time and that takes years. And I think Ryan Garcia is going through the process he needs to go through to get to that stage of his career. So that's my thoughts on that. We got Nosy Rosie in the building. Shout out to Nosy Rosie. Eddie Morales. Now see Eddie's talking about the stuff that he knows I want to talk about. He's talking that Filip Hrgović talk. So he says people are going to learn to stop disrespecting Filip Hrgović when he blasts Dempsey McKean out in 5 rounds. Now listen, man. As far as Filip Hrgović, I'm very excited that he's got a fight signed, sealed, and delivered. August the 12th on the AJ Dillian White card. He'll be taking on Dempsey McKean. The tall southpaw. I believe he's undefeated heavyweight contender. This is an opponent for him where I feel like he's got really nothing to gain other than keeping his mandatory spot. McKean's not a big name, so like if he knocks him out in 5 rounds, nobody's gonna say Hrgović is this killer, right? But it's a fight where I think Hrgović needs to really show that, hey, the Zhang fight was an aberration, all right? And he needs to really show levels in this fight, and I think he will. I think he will. I think now that he's got some time in the gym around Shields and McKean's not necessarily he's not the fastest heavyweight in the world. He's a southpaw. He's a southpaw that sometimes gets caught in the wrong distance. Hrgovic's best punch is a straight right hand. I really feel like it's a fight Hrgović should be winning handily. And then after he beats up on Dempsey McKean, Zhang Zhilei needs to stop getting a pass from the boxing world because Zhang Zhilei, I like Zhang. I like Zhang. I respect Zhang. He did his thing against Hrgović, but he lost. He lost. In my opinion, I know I'm in the minority, but I thought he lost. I thought he gave the fight away in the second half of the fight. And he's getting too much of a pass. He shouldn't be fighting Joe Joyce again. He beat the shit out of Joe Joyce already. He should have been calling for that Filip Hrgović rematch, and he should have been trying to knock Hrgović out and avenge that loss to show everybody that he's better. But he's content with people giving him a pat on the back and saying he won rather than getting an official win on paper. So that's just my opinion. But we'll see how things shake out. I think Hrgović blasts McKean out of there. Brandon says he fought on Wednesday. Lester Martinez or Lonnie Thompson? Who are you referring to? David Esther, shout out to longtime viewer David Esther. He says, "Man, I wasn't sold on Edwin De Los Santos until the other night because he looked freaking sharp against Adorno. He showed that he's not just a big puncher, but he also showed that he's got good stamina. I thought he looked pretty good. I thought, you know, he showed some good boxing ability. I thought Adorno kind of made it easy on him too, though, because Adorno didn't have a lot in terms of his attack. Like, he was very jab dominant, not a lot of feints, not a lot of straight right hand coming from Adorno. But, you know, nonetheless, I thought it was a solid performance. He showed that he can box. Saw some things that could be exploited, as you do with any fighter, but overall good performance. I would like to see Edwin De Los Santos fight Isaac Cruz, but I don't think that's going to happen because Isaac Cruz is fighting Giovanni Cabrera on the Spence Crawford undercard. Giovanni Cabrera is a smaller fight, is a fighter who fights at 130, who's not even a big puncher at 130, that they're bringing up to 135 so that Isaac Cruz can get a knockout, and then so that the announcers can blow smoke up his ass and call the Mexican Mike Tyson, and then they're gonna try to make this Tank rematch happen. So I'm not gonna get my wish with that, but in the perfect world, we would get Edwin De Los Santos versus Pitbull Cruz, and if we can't get that fight, then I would like to see Edwin De Los Santos against Frank Martin. If Frank Martin does what he needs to do tomorrow, you know, Frank Martin versus Edwin De Los Santos, I think it's a great fight at 135 in the PBC stable. So that's kind of where I'm at with that, you know. Let me see. Ralph says, Benavidez keeps saying that everyone at 168 is ducking him, so why not go to light heavyweight where your body is more hydrated? He is so hesitant to move up to that weight class for some reason. Question mark, question mark. Well, Ralph, you take the words right out of my mouth. You know, I used to be a big Benavidez fan. But then I got to a point where I was like, you know what? Like, he needs to go up to 175. And ever since I started thinking that way about Benavidez, and I've been kind of looking to see when he's going to move to 175, he's not been doing that. He has shown a big reluctancy to go up to 175. And, you know, I mean, look, 175, better BF is aging, okay? Bivol, he said he beat Bivol up in sparring. Bivol cannot get a fight. Like, Bivol can't get Dan Aziz to fight him. He can't get Buatsi to fight him. Those two literally ducked him to fight each other, okay? He's beaten like 1/3 of the rankings in the WBA already. You know, he could fight Alexander Gvozdyk, but Alexander Gvozdyk really, he's only had 2 fights really, and they haven't been against like the best opposition in the world. So maybe that's not the most attractive fight. I feel like if there was ever a time for Benavidez to go to light heavyweight and try to get the Bivol fight, it'd be now. Bivol cannot get a fight. Why are you waiting for Canelo? Why are you waiting for these guys? I understand money talks and bullshit walks, but Bivol is still one of the best fighters in boxing, and I think, you know, David could be a really good light heavyweight. And I remember years ago, way before I even thought about Benavidez going to light heavyweight, he was trying to go to light. He was trying to go to Top Rank, and he signed a contract with Bob Arum, but then Samson had to talk to Bob Arum and then get him out the contract and, you know, all that stuff. So, because he wanted to fight Zorro. That was the fight Benavidez wanted back in the day with Zorro for the title. And that never came off because of the whole Arum and Samson thing. But I'm with you, Ralph. We on one accord. Brandon Lentz says, let my boy Stanionis get a fight within the next 40 days. We take on NS November. You know what? Like, look, the fight I want to see, I want to see Thurman fight Ugas, and then I'm hoping Thurman could beat Ugas, and then I want to see Ennis fight Thurman, because I feel like if Ennis beats the guy who was once #1 in the weight class, who Spence and Crawford never fought, that would be a good look on his resume. And I also style-wise, the fact that Thurman can box, got power, can counterpunch. I like that style matchup for Boots as far as like seeing what he has. We've already seen him in there with like the Stanionis type of style before, but Stanionis be a good fight. I'm with you, Brandon. If we can't get Boots versus Thurman, then I like Boots versus Stanionis. Stanionis got screwed royally with this Virgil Ortiz nonsense. You know, he was supposed to fight Virgil. We were supposed to see what Virgil was made out of, but you know, him and his dad and just everybody around Team Virgil Ortiz and Golden Boy, they were very unprofessional, and they didn't make the weight twice. And he's got health conditions and things that are much more bigger than boxing. And Blair Cobbs don't sound so damn crazy no more, you know, if you know what I'm talking about. So, yeah, make it happen, you know. Everyone's saying that Boots just beats the field. I think Stanionis would give us a better gauge on just how good Boots is. Obviously, Boots will go in as the favorite, but that's a hell of a fight, and we need to see that fight. Let me see who we got. David S says, I think Tim Tszyu is getting too much hype. I think Jesus Ramos would give Charlo a tougher fight. Now, I like that. That's an original thought because Jesus Ramos gets overlooked so much at 154. A lot of guys don't talk about Jesus Ramos, and I'm very upset that he's not going to be on the Crawford Spence undercard anymore because for those of you who don't know, Ramos pulled out the fight with Sergio Garcia because I don't know what happened, but he couldn't make the fight or whatever. So, that'd be a good fight. That'd be a barn burner. I think you got two guys that like to come forward, like to go to war. That'd be a fan friendly fight. Let's see who else we got. We got Nosy Rosie. Shout out to Nosy Rosie in the building. Let me just go through the comments because I'm way behind the comments. Shout out to my guy Hyro. He says, I want to see you fight Shadesha Green, the untouchable. Nah, I don't want to. I'm good. I don't want no smoke. Shadesha Green, man. I don't want no smoke with Shadesha Green. She got too much for the untouchable. Brandon said that Lester Martinez fought on Pro Box. See, I didn't even watch the Pro Box show the other day. Well, good. I would like to see Lester versus Lionel if it's true. Hopefully it happens. Brandon says, I got Sergey Lipinets knocking out Matias in the fight. Now I'm glad you brought this up, man, because I'm a little upset that Subriel Matias is gonna fight Lipinets. I guess from what I've learned recently, because I was getting into it. I got into it with somebody on Twitter. I guess Ergashev, who's Matias' mandatory, Shohan Ergashev, he wants to get a tune-up fight because I think he's coming off with some sort of injury. So he wants to make sure he's good going into the Matias fight. Lipinets versus Matias is a good fight. Matias is a dangerous fighter, but he's not unbeatable. We've already seen him get outboxed before, and Lipinets has been champion before, so it wouldn't surprise me. But I think Ergashev, just as long as he's healthy and there's no injuries and whatnot, I think Ergashev beats them both. Man, I really like Ergashev. I think Ergashev got punch power in both hands. He punches hard for the duration of a fight. He just hasn't gotten like the fights that could show the boxing world fully what he's about. But you talk to anybody around gyms because he's down here in South Florida. I only met him once, but you talk to anybody who's seen him in the gym or sparred him, and they all say the same thing. They say Ergashev is nothing to play with. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. Yeah, they're talking about Bivol fighting Yard. I don't like that fight at all. What can Bivol do when all these guys are ducking him? I think Bivol, what he really needs to do is, if Beterbiev beats Callum Smith, I think Bivol needs to get extremely vocal. Like him, his manager Vadim, and the whole team Bivol, they got to go and they got to really lobby hard for that fight. Yeah, we want it for Undisputed, but the WBC is on their little fugazi shit. So, who cares about the belt? Just fight Beterbiev. If he gets Beterbiev on his resume, that's worth more than that. That's worth the same as becoming Undisputed just because of who Beterbiev is in boxing. So, Bivol versus Yard is not a fight I want to see. Anthony Yard has already fought a murderer's row of fighters. He already fought Kovalev. He already fought Beterbiev. Let Anthony Yard get some easy fights. Let him fight the winner of Dan Aziz versus Buati or something like that, and they can make a good little domestic fight. And as far as what Bivol can do, I think they just need to get more aggressive with the Beterbiev fight, and even I guess lobby for Benavidez, because Benavidez should be fighting Bivol right now. He shouldn't be talking about fighting these small guys who are blown up, who are guys who turn pro at much smaller weight classes like Canelo. Go to 175. Fight Dimitri Bivol. Become the first man to beat him. Okay? If Benavidez had Bivol's name on his resume, his resume would go from here to here overnight. Like, come on, man. Larry Liston says Bivol would absolutely school Benavidez. I like to see this fight, but the fork or Bivol's in the cause. I want to see it, man. I want to see it, but it's like you just can't. You can't like. Benavidez is under the Samson. Lukowicz has his own plan. He's sticking to that plan, and I don't think those plans really include a move to 175. I think they're gonna wait for this Canelo to fight Benavidez at the end of that PBC deal. Oh, my main man, 50 grand, Eric Lances Jr. Everyone say salute to one of South Florida's very own, 135/140-pound prospect Eric Lances Jr. He says, "Who beats Adrian Broner?" Is that who you're talking about, Eric? Adrian Broner? You beat Adrian Broner. How about that? I'm Eric Lances Jr. That's my answer. Eric Lances Jr. How you like that? We'll go with that. Let me see who we got here. We got who would you favor in a fight between Robeisy Ramirez and I think you mean Otabek Komatov. That'd be a good fight. I think Robisy's footwork will give Otabek some problems. If they were to fight, his footwork would give Otabek some problems early on, and then somewhere in the middle rounds, I think Otabek cuts that shit out, hits and makes him have to fight, and I think he probably breaks him down. Be a good fight. There's a lot of good fights at 126. You got Otabek could fight Raymond Ford. You got Otabek versus Lee Wood. Otabek versus Josh Warrington. There's some good fights at 126. Angel Leo is supposed to be coming back to 126 any day now. So 126. I think you got Brandon Figueroa who's at 126. Maybe Inoue or Folt to come to 126. So 126 has gotten better, and it's going to be getting better real soon. Keen Mitch says, Lions in the camp. I'm here for Anthony Yarde versus Joe Smith Jr. See, now that's the kind of fights that Anthony Yarde needs to be talking about. We don't need Anthony Yarde fighting no more Russians, all right? No more Russians. That's going to be the hashtag for Anthony Yarde. Hashtag no more Russians. He needs to fight Joe Smith Jr. He needs to fight himself, a New York City union construction worker who was champion. That'd be a good fight. It's a more winnable fight. It's a former champion. That's the kind of fight I think Anthony Yarde could take at this point. If he's not fighting someone like Buatsi or Dan Aziz. No more Russians. That's where I'm at. I agree with you, Keen. Yeah, real shit, Eric. Make it happen, man. Eric Lances Jr. versus Adrian Broner. How about that? Make that shit happen. Talk to your manager, Eric. Tell him to make some phone calls. We got. We need Regis versus Sabrina Matias. That's a good fight. I would like that fight, but I just don't think politically it's gonna happen. Regis looks like he's probably gonna fight Sander Martin because the WBC just ordered that fight. Plus, you got Ryan Garcia, who's already ranked highly by the WBC at 140. Matias has the Ergashev mandatory, which is still looming over his head. And in the intermediate time, he's fighting Lipinets. So I'm hopeful because it's one of the most violent fights that could be made in boxing. But, it looks like a long shot right now at this moment in time. Kevin says, I'm the next Joe Rogan. Well, I appreciate that, man. Joe Rogan, we need that Joe Rogan money, and then we'll be all right. Brandon says that he thinks Danielito Zorrilla beat Regis 8-4, even without the missed knockdown. I don't remember. I didn't score the fight, but when I watched it, I thought Zorrilla actually edged it. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I like Regis. Regis Prograis is probably one of my favorite fighters in boxing, but I thought Zorrilla boxed a very, very intelligent fight, especially being a guy who's not known for his boxing skills. He frustrated Regis, and I thought he beat him. So I ain't mad at you for that. You probably may have had it a little bit wider than I would have had it, but I thought Zorrilla did more than enough to get the nod. Now Jesus M, he's talking about the fight, another fight. This fight right here, and for those of you who don't know about this fight, I'll put you on game. This fight right here is probably one of the fights in boxing that I would honestly say is one of the top 5 most anticipated fights for me, and that's between Raymond Murataya and Diego Torres, 2 Mexican fighters. Murataya is trained by Robert Garcia. Diego Torres is from Jalisco, Mexico. They're both big knockout punchers. I believe Aaron Murata is like 18-0 with 15 knockouts. Diego Torres is like 17-0 with 16 knockouts. Both are really good punchers. I like that fight a lot. I feel like Murata has not fought anyone who could punch like Diego Torres. And Diego Torres is a fighter that's basically been fighting, these tough domestic Mexican fighters, which for the most part, they can't stand up to his power. So I feel like this is going to be one of them fights where, you get two guys that are used to, hitting people and they fall down immediately. And for the first time in these guys' career, I would expect some sort of resistance. And I like the fight. I like the fight a lot. If I had to favor somebody, I might slightly go with Murata, just because I think Murata is a bit more defensively sound. Sometimes when Diego Torres throws combinations, he can fall off balance and leave himself to get hit. He fought that one Mexican. What was the guy's name? He fought a Mexican named Jonathan Escobedo Martinez. I think that was his name. And he fought him on the Jaime Munguia Demetrius Ballard undercard. And Escobedo didn't have a lot with him as far as skills, but just by him being durable and tough, he was able to really take Diego Torres to some deep, dark places. And I think Murata is a more talented fighter than Escobedo. It's just, is he as durable? Can he withstand the Diego Torres power? If he can, I think he wins, and I'll probably say I lean slightly towards him in the fight. But it's gonna be a great fight, a barn burner. Valdez Navarrete is the main event. That's co-main event. It's gonna be, if you're someone that's into like the Mexican boxing and the Rock'em Sock'em and all that, that's gonna be the fight for you. Edward, shout out to my main man Edward. He says Boots versus Alexis Rocha could be a good stay busy fight if he can't get one of the ex-champions. Well, look, Alexis Rocha has been one of, if not the most active welterweight in the world. Yeah, he hasn't fought great opposition. You got Rick Glazer, who's booking some of his opponents, I like that fight. I actually remember when Rocha beat, who did he beat? When Rocha beat Blair Cobbs, and I went to the fight and I covered that fight at the Galen Center out in California. I asked Rocha myself in the flesh. I said, Rocha, man, I said, what do you think about fighting Boots? And he said, of course he'd fight Boots. So I'm sure he'd fight Boots, but would Eric Gomez and De La Hoya want to put Rocha in there at Boots? I don't think so, but it'd be a good fight for him. I think you're right. If he can get one of them guys like Thurman or Ugas or one of the, Crawford or Spence type dudes, Alexis Rocha is the way to go. You know what I'm saying? South Central says Stephen Fulton beats Inoue easily. Now, listen, man, that fight right there, that's the one. That's the one. We've been talking about that fight for a long time here on this channel. And I'm just glad that we're getting down to that time where it's almost bump time. Stephen Fulton is not as feather-fisted as people think. And he's got a lot of dog in him. And he's the naturally bigger guy fighting a guy moving up in weight. So I think there's a couple paths to victory for Stephen Fulton to beat Naoya Inoue. Obviously, it's not going to be easy because Inoue, when we talk about prototypical boxer puncher, we talk about those type of things in boxing. Inoue is that, but Inoue has never fought. I don't think either one of them has fought another opponent you could say is comparable in style. Just being honest, Inoue hasn't fought anyone like Fulton. Fulton hasn't fought anyone like Inoue. They're both in the primes. They're both daring to be great. That's why it's a great fight. Just honestly, just salivating for it to get here. Slow as hell. Rikus is getting pretty old. Yep, he is getting up there. David Easter, he says Abdullah Mason versus Miguel Berchelt is on my wish list. Do you hate Miguel Berchelt? Why do you have a personal vendetta against Miguel Berchelt? Why are you trying to get Miguel Berchelt butchered against the Butcher? Because that's what Steve Kim calls Abdullah Mason, and I like that nickname, Abdullah the Butcher Mason. Why are you trying to get Miguel Berchelt? Miguel Berchelt already got beat up. Who beat him up last time? Was it Jeremiah Nakatilia? He's already been getting beat up. Why do you want to do that to him? You know, what did he do to you? Nah, man, that's too much. That's too much. Robert Sanchez, my main man out there in Texas, he says, nice to see you live again, BT. It's good to be live again, man. You know, I missed it, and it's good to be back. That's all I can say. I'm not going to say more than that. It's just good to be back. What's your thoughts on Frank Martin at the weekend? Now, I don't have an opinion on the fight, to be honest, because I haven't even, like, sat down to watch his opponent. I'm just excited to see Frank Martin fight. I'm excited to see the evolution of Frank Martin. Obviously, Frank Martin's in a great position because, you know, he's with PBC and they got Gervonta Davis, they got Isaac Cruz, they got De Los Santos. They got some good fights out there for him. So I just want to see what he's been working on, and hopefully he continues to show improvements because Frank Martin is not a pushover. And I do think at some point he does get a big shot at a big fight against a guy like Isaac Cruz or Tank. My man right here says Pavel Silyagin at 168 BT. That dude is special. Let me write his name down, champ. I don't know everybody in boxing, so I always like to learn. You know, once you stop learning, you might as well just stop talking boxing. There's so many fighters, there's so many weight classes. You'll never know everybody, but we try. We definitely try here on True School Sports. So let me jot his name down so I can go watch him later on. Pavel. Shout out to everybody here. It's your boy BT back. I'm back like Mace. I feel like Mace since 2004. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. See, the names have all changed since I've been around, but the game ain't the same since I left out. What a song. What a song that was. Make sure y'all smash that like button. Johnny Beck versus Emma Williams is a good fight. Neither can get a shot. I mean, Johnny Beck got to fight someone. Last I heard of Johnny Beck, they were talking about Johnny Beck doing the Denzel Bentley rematch. Now, listen, if any of you were here for the Denzel Bentley Johnny Beck live fight reaction extravaganza we had for that fight, I had a blast. All right, Denzel Bentley was heavy underdog. Everyone thought Denzel Bentley was going to get the shit kicked out of him. He didn't. He stood up to the power of Johnny Beck, made Johnny Beck look very pedestrian. I wouldn't mind seeing him get another shot, honestly, because, I mean, 160 is such a thin division. There's not a whole lot of fights to be made anyway, so why not? I'm not against it. My main man, 50 grand, Felipe. Shout out to Felipe. Flip. Hope all is well with you, champ, out in Texas. Bivol ducked better BF Canelo and will now face a shot journeyman in Anthony Yard. That's the fight they're talking about. That's the fight Eddie Hearn is flapping his gums, talking about. He wants to make Anthony Yard versus Bivol. Now, Bivol versus Anthony Yard is, like, again, hashtag no more Russians. No more Russian fighters for Anthony Yard. He needs to go fight a union construction worker like Joe Smith, or he needs to go fight one of them two other Brits that don't want to fight Bivol in Dan Aziz and Joshua Buatsi. He don't need to fight no more Russians. He already fought Kovalev, got knocked out with a jab. He already fought Beterbiev, got stopped by Beterbiev. Crazy performance, but he got stopped nonetheless. So no more Russians for him. But that looks like the route they're gonna go. You know, I'm a fan from Indianapolis, and I like Frank Martin, even though he eventually stopped Jackson Martinez. I thought he looked bad in that fight. I mean, how many fights ago was that? Like 2 or 3 fights ago? I mean, he's been getting better. I think he ain't been with Derek James but that long, so you know, he's just getting better fight by fight. Khaled, and I like his picture. Khaled with the Conor Ben picture with the steroids. I like that. Salute to True School Sports. How did you feel about Teofimo Lopez performance against Josh Taylor? Listen, man, I'm the president of the American chapter of the Josh Taylor fan club. I love Josh Taylor. Like many, I didn't think T.O. would beat Josh Taylor. T.O. did his thing, and we saw the slick boxer Gordo come out. I thought it was the performance of the year so far. Teofimo Lopez definitely showed he still got it, and I'm happy. And speaking of Teofimo Lopez, he's back. He retired. He retired for like 2 months, and now he's back. He's back like Jordan. He's back like Mario Lemieux. And now him and Devin Haney been going back and forth on social media. So hopefully we can get that fight going. That'd be a good fight for boxing. Let me see. My man King Kuta. Shout out to my man King Kuta, a longtime viewer of the channel. He says, my man Stephen Fulton Jr. will shake the entire world. Sorry you can't go to the fight, gang, but at least you can watch it and not miss any punches. Yeah, man, listen. I got no regrets about how the Fulton Inoue stuff has played out. My trip to Japan in May was a life-changing trip that fundamentally changed me as a human being. I got plans to go to Japan earlier next year. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'm going to be here. We're going to have a classic live, so it is what it is, man. We'll get out to Japan plenty of other times. But, Stephen Fulton definitely has what it takes. People keep writing him off. They keep saying Stephen Fulton can't do this, and he can't do that, and he can't beat Inoue. And, it's crazy. A lot of people call me a Naoya Inoue fanboy, and I'm not mad at that. I am a huge fan of his, and if there was a fighter that you could accuse me of being a fanboy of, and I wouldn't get mad at you, he's probably one of them. But Stephen Fulton is not getting the credit he deserves, I think, from the mass media in boxing. And the closer the fight gets, the more I find myself, wanting him to find a way to get over the hump. Because the thing is, this is like the stuff of legend, man. Like I've said it so many times in videos, I'll say it again. He's doing something that no American fighter has done. This is a unique situation. He's going to Japan not to go get a belt. He's going overseas not to go get a belt, but to defend his belt against the most vicious boxer puncher in the entire sport, who many regard as pound for pound the best, if not top 3 pound for pound. So how could you not respect and love a man how could you not love a man that wants to do those things, that's doing those things, Brandon Lenz says, BT once thought Josh Taylor would be able to handle Earl Spence. Good times. We'll never get to see it, champ, unfortunately, because Josh Taylor never moved up to 47. But Josh Taylor's still a great fighter. I gotta kind of accept reality. I don't know. I think we may have already seen the best of him. The Catterall fight really should have been the clearest indication of that. But I like Josh Taylor so much. I thought he was gonna do it against Tszyu. He didn't do it. It is what it is, man. Life goes on. Hopefully for his sake, maybe when Crawford and Spence fight and one of them vacates, maybe he moves up and can pick up a vacant WBO title and end his career at a high as a 2-division champion. Why not? Ralph said, "Oh yeah, I remember you were saying Denzel Bentley with him." Yeah, I was saying crazy shit on that live. I didn't really believe that when I was saying it, but I was having a lot of fun because middleweight is so bad. Honestly, middleweight is historically bad. You got Sergio Martinez, who's ranked number 2 in the WBA. He's knocking right on the door with a title shot. Middleweight is so bad. We don't know who the best middleweight is. You got Charlo, who hasn't fought in 2 years. You got Johnny Beck, who's struggling with the likes of Denzel Bentley. You got Arizmendi Lara, who's fighting Danny Garcia in a title fight at a 155-pound catch weight. Who knows who the best middleweight is in the world? Denzel Bentley's up there, though. As funny as it sounds, he in the top, 5 or 6. That's how bad middleweight is, to be honest. And he one of the only. Yeah, Eddie's right. He's one of the only middleweights fighting. And I'm gonna read you Hyro's comment because Hyro's been spamming this comment. He says, "You're talking about these divisions, but you never talk about the real division, the cruiserweight division, the division that is actually good, the most active division, unlike 115." Well, listen, I love the cruiserweight division. I love the cruiserweight division because I got a soft spot for Chris Miller-Smith. I got a soft spot for my boy Isaac Chamberlain. There's a lot of fighters in cruiserweight I like. I got Jairo Pataya. You got, Lawrence Okoli, who a lot of people don't like, but I like him. I like cruiserweight, and I'm looking forward to hopefully, we get some of these fights to happen. I want to see Jairo Pataya take on Richard Riakporhe or Chris Miller-Smith against Richard Riakporhe. I want Richard Riakporhe to fight one of the champions because Richard Riakporhe, he's 6'5". He's a big, power punching fighter. He's probably got one of the better right hands in boxing, and that's my favorite punch in boxing. I'm a simple guy to please. If you got a good straight right hand, if you got a devastating right hand of any sorts, odds are I'll become a fan of you. That's why I like guys like, I like Kell Brook. I like Inoue. If you got a good straight, if you got an above average to elite straight right hand, odds are I'll probably like you. So, yeah, hopefully we get, more fighters into, more fights in the cruiserweight. We got Ian Green. Now, I'm not sure if this is the Ian Green, the middleweight contender that I want to see fight. And by the way, if this is the Ian Green that I think I'm talking to, let me throw his name in the hat, because I mentioned a lot of guys at middleweight. Ian Green put on one of the best middleweight fights I've seen in a long time with Alexander Castro. I was there ringside for it. I filmed like the whole fight. It's on my channel. If you've never seen it, it's an underground hood classic, like the movie Paid in Full. It's a great fight. It's just that a lot of people didn't see it because it was on a Don King pay-per-view on the undercard of Stavern versus Jonathan Guidry. But if you've never seen that fight, go look it up. Ian Green versus Jonathan Castro. But to answer his question, he says, what got you into the sport of boxing? Also, did you ever consider competing on an amateur level? Now, that's a question that requires a long answer. But I got into the sport of boxing because my dad put me in front of the TV when I was 6 years old in 2001, and I watched Felix Trinidad versus Bernard Hopkins. That was like the first fight I ever watched. And when I was a kid, boxing wasn't like my favorite sport, but it's a sport that I followed as a casual fan. I'd watch the big fights. I'd watch Mayweather. I'd watch Pacquiao. I'd watch the Cotto fights. When I got older, when I got out of high school, I started covering basketball. For like 2 years, I used to cover basketball in the NBA. I told the story many times, but I'll tell it again. I covered basketball for like 2 years in the NBA with like the Mavericks and the Hornets and in the D League, and did some stuff with the Magic. I was all over the place in the NBA for a little bit. And then I wound up not liking it. I like basketball, but I grew to not like covering basketball. And so I was out in Texas for like a year and a half, moved back to Florida in like late 2014, heading into 2015. And I got a chance to cover some local fights, and I kind of just fell in love with it, and I never looked back. That's kind of the short answer of it. It was also around that time when I started boxing. So I started boxing just to stay in shape, and because I was going through some like mental stuff. So I went to the boxing gym. I went to this gym in Dania Beach in Florida called Canino's Boxing Gym, and I used to go there and train, and I used to spar fighters, and I fell in love with it. And it really changed the direction of my life. And yes, I did have thoughts of competing on the amateur level. I didn't do it because it wasn't. I'm one of the. I'm the kind of guy that, like, if I want to do anything, I want to be the best at it. And like when I started learning about how boxing actually works, I kind of started too late. And at that time, I just wasn't disciplined enough to give myself all the way over to boxing. So I didn't want to half-ass it, so I didn't. But I figured if I couldn't be the best at boxing in the ring, I'd be the best at covering it. So that's kind of like the short answer. That's the condensed answer. Yeah, we get called racist fans because Inoue fans don't give Fulton credit. I give both of them credit. I feel like Inoue and Fulton both deserve the credit because they're showing the whole world how it's done. Like, they showed the whole world how it was done. They didn't waste no time. They both had excuses to not make the fight happen. Fulton could have moved up to 126 and fought Brandon Figueroa and just stayed in house. Inoue could have fought Merjan or Marlon Paulus first before fighting Fulton. But they both overcame the excuses they could have had, and they made the fight. So I got nothing bad to say about either one of them. Ian Green says, we are working on a world title eliminator with someone in the top 5. I like that. Hopefully you get it. He says, I'm going to shock the world. Just watch. I'm looking forward to it, man. You fought some high-risk, low-reward guys in your career. You fought Tyler Howard when he was undefeated. You fought Alexander Castro, who a lot of people don't know about, but he was tough too. Great fights too, man. So I'm banging the Ian Green drum. I want to see Ian Green in some fights at middleweight because middleweight needs some fighters to step up, and I'm looking at you as one of them guys. Danny Garcia says, or Ken Kuta said, Danny Garcia is going to be the best middleweight in the world. Who do you actually have as the best middleweight, though, bro? I think it's a weak division, too, but somebody has to be the man there. Well, you can't say Charlo because Jamal Charlo is inactive. Johnny Beck. I mean, I like Johnny Beck. I'm a Johnny Beck fan, but I think it's hard, man. Like, this is like middleweight right now is in a very, very bad place. Like, it's historically bad right now at the top. Someone's got to stop. To me, I have to leave it vacant. I have to leave it vacant until either Johnny Beck unifies or Carlos Adames gets a shot at one of the champions, or maybe Ian Green gets a chance to fight one of the champions. I gotta leave it vacant for the time being. I can't really just say. Let me see. I'd rather watch someone talk about sports instead of hearing so many channels pretend like comic book and nerd coach like they're critical. I feel you, champ. I feel you. Ghost. Shout out to my man Ghost. We see you, champ. Yes, sir. Shout out to Ghost. Hope all is well. Ian Green says, and just want to give you your flowers and show my appreciation. Thank you for giving fighters who are unknown like me some type of recognition. Hope all is well. All is well, man. And I'm gonna message you soon, man, because I want to eventually start doing my live interviews again. So we got to get you on here one of these days soon, so more people can know about Ian Green, because like I was there ringside, and I've gone to a lot of fights over the years, club shows, some big fights as well, and it was one of the better fights I've seen. I really enjoyed it, and I think you have something to give to the sport. So yeah, I'll definitely be in touch with you soon, man. God bless. And Ian Green also says, by the way, I was in camp with Johnny Beck, and Top Rank is really good at making fighters seem better than they are. I'm going to leave it at that. And yes, I would agree. Top Rank has the best matchmakers in the business. They're very good at looking after their fighters. That's why sometimes it's like, I like Top Rank. To me, like Top Rank, I like the way they're ran as a company. Sometimes I don't like their cards because they're too good at matchmaking. Sometimes they're too good at matchmaking to where like you don't even get competitive fights on the card. But they're very good at what they do, and I would agree with Ian says. Morel versus Benavidez. I told y'all we're monster hunting, and we're gonna bring the bitch out in that boy. Listen, if that's gonna be his next fight, then that's the fight I want to see. I mean, it looks like that's where we're going. Dave Benavidez has made a career, especially these last couple of years, out for beating up smaller fighters. So I would like to see Dave Benavidez fight someone at 68, which is just as big as him in Morel. So yeah. Hyro says, BT, that dude from Germany that beat the shit out of Falcao to win the IBF. I don't remember his name, but I know who you're talking about. He's in the picture now. He's right. He's in the picture as well. He says, I told you he'll duck Morel. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'm gonna wait for the official announcement, but it looks like it. It looks like he's gonna go that route. My man, self-production. Shout out to my man, self-production is one of the loyal viewers of the channel. He says he got Morel. He says, salute to my Florida brother. I got Morel. Hey, hopefully this happens, man. Hopefully it happens. Let me see. What else did we not get to? We've gone through a lot. You guys are making this a great, like when I say this has been like a smooth live stream, like it's just time's just going by. I'm having a great time. I'm really enjoying talking to you guys. Middleweight contender Ian Green was in the comments. Shout out to Ian Green. What else did we not talk about? Oh, what's his name? Gervonta Davis got released from prison, so that's good. Tank is home. Tank is home like Mitch from Paid in Full. He's home. So that's always a good thing. Maybe he'll go to Japan. Maybe he'll go to Japan for the fight. Brandon Lentz says, I never seen a 9-0 fighter get this much hype. I don't know, man. Well, Lomachenko wasn't 9-0. Unfortunately, I was gonna say Lomachenko, but then I remembered Lomachenko wasn't 9-0. He lost his second pro fight to Salido, so can't say that. Jaime Munguia is a hype job, but I think he beats Berlanga. Why the hell does Benavidez want to fight Munguia instead of Dave Morel? It's quite simple. He wants to fight Munguia because Munguia is Mexican. He's got a big Mexican fan base. He's got a Mexican promoter. with a huge Mexican audience in Zenith Promotions. That's all it is. That's what I think. And on top of that, style-wise, Munguia is an easier fight than Morrell. Munguia is an orthodox fighter, pressure fighter. Morrell is a southpaw who's just as big as Benavidez, and you know it's going to be a bit of a tougher fight, I think. But Berlanga, you know, I like Berlanga, and there's still part of me that wants him to turn it around and hopefully unlock that next part of his skills. But you know, I just think, like, I don't know what it is, man, with these, like, I gotta keep it a spade, man. Like, I'm part Puerto Rican, but like, these Puerto Rican fighters, they don't faint, man. They don't faint. A lot of these Puerto Rican fighters, like, they're allergic to uppercuts. They don't throw uppercuts. They're just jab, straight right hand, left hook. That's all they got. There's not really much as far as feints, and there's not much as far as uppercuts. And you know what? I don't know. I saw some warning signs in that Quigley fight. I feel like Berlanga is very fortunate. Quigley is not a natural 68-pounder. He might have been into trouble that fight. But listen, it was his first fight back with his original coach, Mark. Hopefully they work some things out and he fights better. I personally would like to see Edgar Berlanga fight John Ryder, because he was talking about fighting John Ryder before any of this stuff came up with Quigley. And I think John Ryder's at a good level at 168. If he can beat a John Ryder, then he would be more credible. We shall see how it goes. Shout out to everyone here. Let me see who else we got. My main man, MEasyBX. He says Berlanga beats Munguia. Ooh, he's sticking with his New York brethren. Okay, I respect it. Stay loyal to the hometown guy. I respect it. Listen, Berlanga's not like, he's not as bad as everybody's making him out to be. I think that'd be a good fight. I think that's probably, of the fights at 68, of guys that are undefeated, that have big names like the Benavidez and Morrell, it's probably the most winnable one. And he's still an underdog in that fight, so why not? He beats Munguia. You know, that's going to be a big feather in his cap, because Munguia got a good record on paper, and you know, like, he's the favorite in that fight. Straight up. How many uppercuts and left hooks did Sergey Derevyanchenko hit Munguia with? A lot. Too many to count. Too many to count. Do you know who smoked Munguia? If they would have fought, I think Andre would have smoked. I think Andre would have smoked. I don't know, man. Andre, you know, I love Andre. You guys know. I mean, people think I hate Andre. I'm kind of indifferent these days right now towards Andre, because it's like, y'all wanted him to sign out PBC, right? He didn't fight Johnny Beck. He didn't fight Zach Parker for short money. He signed PBC, all right? He fights Damon Nicholson. That was in January. We're in July now. We still don't got nothing signed, sealed, or delivered. Jamal Charlo don't look like he's mentally fit to get anywhere near a boxing ring, and that was probably his most, like, realistic opponent. So when the hell is Andre gonna box again? That's the question we need to be asking. You know? And yes, if Ryder fought Benavidez, that would be a good fight, I think. I would like to see that fight. Because a lot of people say that he would just beat the shit out of John Ryder. And John Ryder is no punk. He's no slouch. And he's not going to be intimidated or overwhelmed by fighting Dave Benavidez. And I'll tell you this, if Benavidez could overwhelm John Ryder and stop his ass, that'd be a statement. To me, it'd be a statement, because we saw Canelo beating the dog shit out of John Ryder, and he had every advantage in the world in Mexico, but then we saw John Ryder towards the back half of that fight begin to have his way with Canelo a little bit in that fight. So I like that fight. Yeah, I think Ryder's a good fight for anybody at 68. Plant, Benavidez, or anyone. Anyone you could think of, anyone you can name. Stephen Shaw, disrespect will not be accepted. If you think of Bowman, Jared Anderson, and Moose, listen, I would love that fight. I think that's a damn near pick'em fight. I think it's a pick'em fight. Stephen Shaw, you know, he has the skills to beat. I wanted to see Stephen Shaw fight Anderson before he lost to Efe Agjagba. So, and I still want to see that fight. If Top Rank wants to listen, once Jared Anderson beats this Because he's gonna beat this Rudenenko guy, and if he can't beat him, if he can't beat no damn Andre Rudenenko, then we don't need to see Jared Anderson anywhere near the top level of boxing. But once he takes care of this guy next month, if Top Rank wanna make Anderson versus Stephen Shaw last quarter of this year, that's a good fight. That's a hell of a fight. That fight right there will tell me something about Jared Anderson, and it will give Stephen Shaw a chance to redeem himself in the FL Jogba fight, which, you know, I thought he left some things to be desired, you know. Andre was dealing with the injury. That's why he didn't fight. All right. Well, I hope so. I hope so because, you know, with Andre, like mind you, I love Andre. Like people think I hate him. I'm a huge Andre fan still. But like he just has this horrible pattern. Don't matter if we're talking about the zone years or the Rock Nation years. He just has a horrible pattern of inactivity. And right now we're already 6 months in. We're 6 months since Demetrius Andre's last fight. That was January 7th he fought on the Tank card against Tank Hector Garcia. So we need Andre to hopefully by the end of the year, because let's say worst case scenario, he fights middle of December. That's going to be him coming off of a 11th month layoff, which is not too bad because it would still be 2 fights in a year. I'm not going to go on BoxRec, but I can't remember the last time Demetrius Andre had 2 fights in a year. So I'll count it as a W. Inactivity kills careers, and Andre and age. No, it's not. It's not. It's not at all. It's not at all. Hell of a fight. Why not fight him? That'd be if Andre comes back and they can put that fight together. Why not? Andre had a lot to say about John Ryder when John Ryder got the fight over him. John Ryder's fought Billy Joe. John Ryder's fought Canelo. John Ryder is a respected, credible name in the super middleweight division. So you beat him. Why not? We know Andre's legs aren't what they used to be, right? We know Ryder's the kind of fighter that starts slow and gets stronger in the back half of fights. Good fight. And yes, I remember all this. I remember I interviewed Paul Andrade about it after the Andrade Keeler fight. I interviewed Eric Gomez about it at the Zordo Yunieski Gonzalez fight and Golden Boy. Yeah, I get all that. But for me, like I've talked about that stuff so much. For me with Andrade, I'm just like, what's next? What's he gonna do now that he's at PBC? That's what it's about with me. I can't change the past. I can't change what he did in the past. But let's just focus on what he can do now. And I can see Self Productions and Ghost. They going at it in the comments about Shaw, you know. And yes, Andre made Jason Quigley look like an F-level fighter. He beat the brakes off him in 2 rounds. And Quigley did his damn thing. He did his thing against Berlanga. He was counter punching him. He was neutralizing Berlanga, getting past that Lee left hand. He was doing his thing. Hell yeah. I would love to see even Andre versus Berlanga would be a good fight. You know? Pacheco versus Andre, I mean, rankings-wise, that fight makes sense because Pacheco, I believe, is I know they're both like in the top 3 or 4. Like Pacheco and Andre are both top 3 or 4 in the WBO. So that fight could happen. Like politically, as far as with the sanctioning bodies, but whoa, PBC and DAZN, you know, you guys know the drill. Like you know how it is in boxing with the fake politics and whatnot. You know how the cookie crumbles with that stuff. Andre versus Jacobs. You know, I ain't thought about Daniel Jacobs, but yeah, I saw a video of him. I saw a video of him training on Twitter recently. Why not make that fight happen? You know, those are all good fights. Andre fights his opponents. Yeah. I just want to see him fight, man. Like that's my thing with Andre. It's just out of sight, out of mind. 1 times too often with Andre. So I understand he's not a guy that dudes want to jump up to fight, but at the same time, it's like, you know, he's a PBC now. Doesn't everybody say that's the cure to everyone's problems? Just sign with Al Heyman and you just get the fights. Like everyone was telling Crawford for all these years, oh, just sign with Al and you'll just get the Errol fight straight away. Look how long it took him. So I'll just wait. I'll just wait for the next date. I'll treat Andre the way I treat Philip Hrgovic. You know, when they get the fight signed, see them delivered, I'll get excited about it. But until then, it's just all hearsay. So yeah. On that note, I mean, look, I think I pretty much ran through everything I wanted to talk about. You know, Tyson Fury has disgraced the linealship of the heavyweight division, fighting Francis Ngannou. MMA fighters can't box, so that's why Tyson Fury is fighting him for a big ass bag. And on that note, guys, look, it's 10:30. It's 10:30 here. I don't want to make this live too much because I'm knocking off the cobwebs like fighters do. I'm knocking off some ring rust. Tomorrow I'm gonna be live for the Frank Martin fight. So if y'all wanna come join me and Pops, we're gonna have Pops here. We're gonna be turned to the umpteenth degree. If y'all want to join us for that tomorrow, feel free to definitely make some plans and some arrangements and join us tomorrow. We'll be live for that. I made like 10 videos today, so I gotta edit those before I go to sleep tonight. And we're definitely gonna keep this True School Sports thing going. It's been a great year. I had a 60-day layoff. I had a 60-day layoff like these fighters got 1 year layoffs. But I'm back, and I'm here. I'm here for the sport of boxing. I'm here, committed to the sport of boxing. My first love, my only love. So that being said, not my only love, but my first love. So with that being said, and yes, Jesus Sam, I am watching Bumgarner. I'm not gonna go live for a fight, but I'll watch it and I'll have a post-fight review video. But on that note, guys, you guys take care. I will see you tomorrow on the live for Frank Martin. And on that note, You really want me to comment on that? I'm not going to comment on that. It's not my place to comment on that. If it's true, God bless them. I'm not worried about that situation or any situation that doesn't involve me covering the sport of boxing. I'm just here for the boxing. God bless them. God bless her on her next fight on the 28th, and I'll leave it at that. But yeah, on that note, guys, you guys take care. God bless. See you tomorrow. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Dang It. So until next time, take care, guys.